Hello, everyone, and welcome. Dawn Polly here, and I'm so glad you could join me. Today, I'm going to show you how I made 4 super quick and easy cards using card fronts. Whimsy Stamps sells a bunch of different card fronts to make card making super fun and easy. They're especially great, in my opinion, for newbie card makers. They take the guesswork out of making the cards, and they can be used for a bunch of different occasions. For example, these card fronts are sold as sympathy card fronts. However, I was not in the mood to make a sympathy card today. Who's ever in the mood to make them? Am I right? I just don't enjoy making them if I don't have to. But I am in love with these card fronts. They're called Sympathy Bouquet, and there's set 1 and set 2. I have both of these sets because I couldn't decide between them. They're both absolutely beautiful sets. This was set 2 that I just showed you. Wait until you see set 1. I mean, look at the details in these pictures. The flowers are absolutely gorgeous. Another awesome thing I love about them is they come with 2 sets of sentiments if you want to make sympathy cards. I like to think outside the box and show you that they can be used for so much more than sympathy cards. I want to point out that the price point for these is amazing as well. It's only $5.99 and you can make 8 cards with them. Where can you buy or make 8 cards for $5.99? I'm just saying. Okay, so let's get started so I can show you the lovely cards that I made with them. I'm going to be putting a frame around the pictures, and I'm using the 3-in-1 frame die for 2 of the cards and these Sprinkled Scalloped Rectangles die for the other 2. I taped 2 of the rectangles together to make the frame, and the outer edge has the scalloped edge to it. And then I'm going to die cut both frames from white cardstock. And I die cutting 6 of each frame so that I can stack 3 of them on top of each other to give the cards dimension. So here you have them. I ran them through my die cut machine. It was very quick and easy to do. I used the 2 different frames so that all of the cards wouldn't look the same. I also have this little frame from the 3-in-1 die, and I'll show you what I'm going to use that for so it doesn't go to waste. Here I'm just stacking the 3 frames on top of each other to give the frames the dimension. And I do this for both sets of the frames, the scallop ones and the plain ones. And now I'm going to make my sentiments. I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment onto this little rectangle as not to waste it. I'm using the Simple Sentiment Strip stamp set for my first 2 cards. And this first card is going to be a birthday card. I'm going to stamp my sentiment with some Versamark ink, and then I'm going to pour gold embossing powder on it, and then I'm just going to set it aside. I decided to get one of the middle-sized frames and make a thank you sentiment with it. I love these smaller frames for sentiments so they don't go to waste. Then, when my heat tool is good and hot, I'm just going to heat both of those sentiments. I'm going to attach the first frame onto the card front. I try to pick the best spot on the card front to make the florals stand out more. And when I'm done, I'm just going to take a pair of scissors and cut off any excess that I don't need. I think this is beautiful. And now I want to show you that you can also heat emboss on these as well. I'm using the Mom's Layered Flowered Stamp Set for this sentiment. Now, this can be used for Mother's Day or can be used for any time you want to tell your mom you love her. First, I'm going to stamp and heat emboss the word mother first, and then I'm going to go back and stamp the rest of the sentiment underneath the word mother. It's just easier to do one row at a time. Now, because I put the frame on first, when I pour my embossing powder on it, I just kind of swirl it around and then dump it upside down so it doesn't get all stuck inside the frame. And then I'm just going to heat emboss it like normal. And look at how nice that came out. It stands out so nice on this card front. To save some time, I just went and stamped the rest of the sentiment and see how it looks. It I think it looks really great, especially when you see it in person. I did the same process for the other card that I heat embossed the sentiment right onto the card front. For the other two cards, I'm trimming down the sentiment and keeping a pointed angle at one end. And then I went ahead and did the same process for these two card fronts. I'm attaching the frames and then trimming them down. If you want, you can trim the card fronts down first before you put the frames on, but I thought it was just as quick and easy to do it this way and trim it down after I put the frame on it. Once the frames are on and they're all trimmed down, I put foam tape on the back of the sentiments, and then I'm just going to adhere them onto the front of the card. I always like the look of dimension on a card, and I think it really brings a card to like the next level. So I put craft foam on the back of all of the card fronts, and then I'm just going to adhere all of them to an A2 sized white card base. And to finish off the cards, I'm using This Calls for Confetti's clear dewdrops to accent my cards with. I'm using the lift and release tool, which has a pick on one end and wax on the other end, and it makes it really easy to pick the dewdrops up with. Now, I'm just putting them randomly on all of these cards. Does anyone else ever struggle on where to put their gems on a card? I feel like sometimes they look great, and then other times I'm like, wow, they just really don't look good, no matter where I'm putting them on the card. These I felt actually were a little easy to put for some reason. I'm not going to have you watch me put all the gems down on each of these cards. I think you get the idea. And then I just adhered them down with my liquid glue. And that's going to complete my 4 cards for today. I think these cards came out amazing. I actually got a lot of compliments on them when I gave them out to people, so I was pleased and excited about that. Sometimes the simplest of cards are actually the best cards. I gave one of these to my mom for Mother's Day, and she absolutely loved it. I hope you enjoyed these cards and you check out some of the other card fronts that Whimsy Stamps carries because they're really starting to carry a whole lot of them. I want to thank you for joining me on the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the cards. Be sure to subscribe to the Whimsy Stamps channel and their other social media platforms so you don't miss out on any upcoming releases and great inspirational videos. Also, check out their website for all their new releases. And as always, I want to thank you for spending your time with me, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.